Our Ignatian wisdom for today comes from the Jesuit David Fleming from his book, What is Ignatian Spirituality? And he writes, God initiates, we answer. We do not strike out on our own. We are to follow. To follow means that we adopt a kind of active passivity toward the action of God. Active passivity captures the characteristic tone of Ignatian spirituality. It is a spirituality of attentiveness, of watching and waiting, of noticing the ebb and flow of our feelings and inner dispositions. So, my friends, when we think of active passivity, when you juxtapose them together, it seems that they don't go together, active and passive. Um, but what this tells us is that, or at least, the passive part of it, it comes from the fact that God is always the one who makes the first move. God labors in us, through us, and for us. And so that's the passive part. Um, and that is that in our lives, we don't do anything, and yet it's God who works micro miracles in our lives. The active component, the active part, is staying attentive to those uh, things and actions of God in our lives. Here's an example to make it easier to understand. Say, for example, you've just experienced a betrayal by a good friend of yours, or so you thought. This is a trusted friend of yours. And so, after the fact, you feel a lot of hurt, and uh, you feel that you're not ready to forgive the person, that it'll take some time before you get to that place. And so then uh, time passes by, and then all of a sudden you notice that inside of you, the anger is no longer as strong as it used to be, and that there's a greater freedom in you to want to patch things up with this friend of yours. That there is a growing freedom in you to work on healing or work on forgiving him or her. And we say that it's God who does that work in you towards greater freedom, towards greater mercy and compassion for this friend of yours who betrayed you. And so it's the fact that you've noticed a shift in you, you've noticed a change of heart, um, and that is the active part of this. So active passivity, being passive, being receptive to the actions of God in our lives, but actively noticing that God is working on our behalf. And so today, my friends, for our Ignatian wisdom of the day, it's living out what it means to be actively passive in relation to our God. And so, with that, I wish you a wonderful day and thank you, my friends.